This app makes about $130,000 a month. It's chair yoga for seniors and it has over 13,000 ratings. And the whole product is just a list of exercises and a timer. It has got 4.5 stars, which sounds fine, but there are over 1,400 people rated it 3 stars or lower, which is more than both competitors combined. And that 1,400 people who already pay for chair yoga and already didn't like it. And that's the reason I'm here. So you know what? I just cloned it using Claude Code. So that is running on my phone right now. And the woman doing exercises didn't even exist before. There are like 15 of these, one for every exercise in there. And every single one of them is generated. And this is the other half of it, a dashboard for care home running off the same database as the phone. The whole thing is just 8 prompts and you're going to see all of them in this video. I split these in 5 levels, and the thing that makes it work is each level hands the next one a file. So level 1 finds your target, level 2 decides what you actually build, level 3 makes your parts, and level 4 builds it, and level 5 is the one that makes it hold up. The rule I stick to it is that no step starts until the one before it has written its file. So nothing gets invented in the gaps, and if something is wrong, I know exactly which file to go to and fix. Every prompt that I used is in my free AA newsletter. The link is in the description, so you don't need to pause the video or copy or anything down. So before you start, there are like 3 things to set up first. The first one is Claude Code. Download the desktop app and sign in, because that's what does all the work. Then in your settings, open connectors and add Higgsfield as MCP. That generates your characters, and it's the only thing here costing real money. And Apify, the same screen, which pulls your App Store data. I'll get all 3 done now rather than fixing it halfway. Now let's get started. Level 1, find the target. So you just need to open Claude Code and then paste this prompt. So in this prompt, I've asked Claude Code to pull the live market data for chair yoga and then decide whether we can proceed building it or not. This is basically an important step because this is where you work out whether the app you're looking for is worth cloning at all. I think most people get this a bit wrong. So now I would just click on submit. So this first prompt pulls live app store data for my target, and it's the closest competitors, ratings, reviews, pricing, and who makes them. But the thing I actually want out of it is basically one number nobody publishes, which is what is the share of each app's rating are the unhappy ones, because everyone looks at star average, and a star average is basically a big blurry number that hides everything underneath. What I want to know is how many people are completely annoyed, because those are the people you are trying to sell. And it took me like 3 seconds. And here's what I got. I got a validation.md file, and it has got the following information. So the first table is basically the existing app that is in this similar niche. On a star average, all 3 looks fine, nothing in between them and nothing to see. But the thing that I'm curious is basically this column, because that's the share of each app rating sitting at 3 stars or below. So chair yoga for seniors is at 10.7% and the other 2 is 4.9 and 5%. So 1 in every 9 of my target customers are really unhappy, and for the competition, it's 1 in 20. And remember, it's the biggest app of all 3 as well, so it got the largest audience in the niche and the unhappiest one at the same time, which means those people have already told you 2 things. They'll pay for chair yoga and they're not happy with what they get. And now next bit, I wasn't expecting it to use, and it turned out to be the most useful thing in the file. It also pulled out everything else the developers have shipped. So you can see that they have shipped like chair yoga for seniors, Paraphrase AI Humanizer, and so many other things as well. And take a look at this. So there is this company, Fast Builder Limited. So they run like over 56 apps off the same skeleton, and that's the machine. That's actually whom you're actually racing. So now once that is done, so you would need to paste this second prompt. So the second prompt is basically to scrap and analyze the reviews for chair yoga for seniors, so we know what actually to build. So this one scraps every review the app has ever had, then sorts the complaints into themes and ranks them how often they come up. And there is one instruction in here that matters more than anything else in the video. I tell it to classify every review by what the text actually says, and ignore the star ratings completely. Here is 5. There might be cases where there are like 5 stars, but the title would be something like app won't start. So I wanted to avoid all these scenarios and get the raw information on what customers are actually saying. Once we are ready, we just hit enter and this is what we get. So we get like 3 files. So one file is basically the reviews and the other one is negatives.csv, which has got the negative reviews and then the themes. So let's take a look at it one by one. So the first file is the reviews.csv. So there are like 187 reviews that are totally scrapped, and there are like 128 of them which are negative by text, and there are like 129 of them that are less than 3 stars. And this table categorizes the complaints by theme and ranked. So if you can see here, some of the themes that are raised by the customers are they are free is completely deceptive and there is no proper customer support. It's paid but locked out, and so on. And you can see the number of reviews that are related to the same theme and the percentage and also the bucket. Here's the product themes, and basically it's an explanation and the direct customer sentences that were mentioned in the comments. And you can see that the customers are mainly based in US and Canada. And here are the titles. It says app won't start and there is no iPad app and trial is too short and so on. The second one is basically negatives.csv, and it has got all the negative reviews that we have in this app. So we can see the dates and then the app version and then the text and the themes as well, which are related to that. And we find all the information in here in this MD file. So now based on the reviews.csv and negatives.csv, Claude Code actually gave this themes.md file, which tells us what actually to build. So in summary, nearly half of the complaints aren't about the app at all. They are completely about the money itself and subscription on the billing and the trial, which completely changed what I built, but that's not required here. If I would have guessed it, I would have gone and built more exercises, but that's not the case. It's good that we analyze the reviews first before we even start to build. So level 2 is decide what to build. So I would just give this prompt to Claude Code. So basically we're saying that to read themes.md file and then write spec.md for our apps. Stillwell, which is the name that I've given to my app, and it's basically chair yoga for people aged 60 and over. And again, if you want this prompt, so I've given that in my free AA newsletter. You can just find that in the description below. So this prompt is basically to turn the complaint list into a product spec, but it does it in the order that felt wrong to me at first, which is that it settles the pricing and then trust model before it describes a single screen. That's deliberate, and it's because of what the review said. Half of the anger in the dataset is completely about money, and if I design the app first and bold pricing on the end, I would build a nicer version of the same problem. So now you just give this prompt and then hit enter, and this is what we got, the spec.md file. So we only have like 2 price plans, annual and then monthly, and that's it. So Claude actually recommended the pricing that I would put it in this app. So it's about $10 a month, and then if it is an yearly plan, it's $40 a year, and then free trial is 0 forever. And the thing that we need to note is the free trial does not take a card, so you can just sign up and then use it. And then the part 2 is basically all the navigations that we have inside the app itself, and it has got the IDs, the screens, and what the purpose of each screen should be, and then all the information. And then the next one is the data model, all the database, all the schemas, and how the value should be and everything else. And then the subscription table, exercises, the plans, and everything else. And here's the list of 15 exercises that we would build in this app. And it has given the name of the exercise and what the exercise actually is, a small description basically. And here's the traceability table. It has got the every theme in the themes.md file that we got before, and then how the feature will basically answer that. So it's pretty cool for you to get an idea whether the themes that were mentioned before is answered or not. So basically every feature in the spec traces back to a specific complaint, and then anything that traces back to nothing got cut. There is no feature in this app because it seemed like a good idea. Every one of them is someone else's bad review. So level 3 is make the parts. So I just go into the same chat and then give this prompt. So I have asked Claude Code to read spec.md, which has got all the app features, and asked it to produce image and video assets using the Higgsfield MCP. So for images, I've asked it to use GPT Image 2, and for videos, I've asked it to use CDance 2.0. So the step 1 is basically plan every asset that we are going to generate. And then the step 2 is basically to price the whole set before it starts building. I don't want Claude Code to start building right away, because then I would not know the budget that would be used in Higgsfield. So once it has got the plan, it needs to stop and give me the pricing and then get approval from me before it can proceed to build. So that's the step 3. And then after I approve, I've asked it to generate in this order that I specified. And I also provided how the output should look like, basically in a .mp4 format. And I wanted to name exactly as the IDs in the spec.md file, which has got the exercises names and the description attached to it. In summary, this prompt has 2 stops built into before it generates anything at all. The first one is basically the money. It plans out every asset and prices the whole batch against any actual credit balance and stops and waits. You approve a number upfront instead of finding afterwards what it would cost me. So in this prompt, I would just hit on enter, and then the step 1 is basically the plan. And then the step 2 is the pricing, how much credits that would be required for this. So it gave me an estimate of 138 credits. And then basically it stopped at step 3, which is the approval gate. So now I just give it as approved. If I don't like this, or if I wanted to lower my budget, I can just say use a lower model that would cost me less credits. So I would just say that and then press on enter. But for now, I'm okay with this. So I just gave as approved. So this is the second gate. It generates one character first, which is this one, and then nothing else, and it stops. So I just look at the character, and then if I don't like this, if I wanted to make any changes, I just tell Claude, and then it would provide me a new image. Because if you let it run free, you don't get one woman doing 15 exercises. You might get 15 different women, and we don't want that. Now here's the odd part. These all come out on a bright green on purpose. So I have actually tried transparent video first, and it's really annoying because it might face some challenges to remove background. So I just use this green screen and it works so well. So I would suggest you to do the same. So now we have got it, and it has given me some logo option as well. And here's the animated version of the character doing the exercise. And we have got like 15 exercises, and there's one video for each exercise. And they are all stored in the assets folder. So I've got like 15 of them, which will be used by the app, and which is pretty cool. So the next step is the design. So basically I've asked Claude Code to read the spec.md and then the manifest.json file, and then write a design prompt that I can provide it to Claude Design. So Claude Code writes a design brief, and Claude Design will build the design from it. There is a rule in here I would push back on if someone told me it, which is that the brief is banned from naming a single color, font or spacing issue. It describes what the app is and who is it for, what every screen does and the exact words in it, and then it hands over. Because the moment you start at art directing, what you would get is a worse design than the tool would have made on its own. Because Claude Design itself is good at designing, so I would provide the freedom to Claude Design to make design choices, basically. And then now I've got the design prompt.md, which would tell Claude Design what the app actually is, and then all the screen it has in the app, and the pricing, and then every other screen the app would have. So now I would just use this file and upload it to Claude Design along with the assets that we have generated. And I would pick a design reference from sites like Dribbble, and then I would paste it to Claude Design and ask Claude Design to basically provide a design prototype for me. Okay, so now I'm in Claude Design. You can just go to Claude Design using your browser. So go to claude.ai/design and you will get this page. And then I have pasted the design prompt.md file. And then I would also attach the assets that we have, and then I would just hit on enter, and then after a few minutes we just get this enter your app that is designed. So I've got all the screens here, including the questionnaire, how the home screen should look like, all the exercises and everything else. And this is the exercise screen, so you can see the character seated, and then we have got the description of the exercise and also the timer as well. So if you've got the enter your design, which is designed by Claude Design, and then if you wanted to make any changes, I can just click on the interact icon and then click on the components of the design, and then just chat it to Claude Design on the corrections that I need to make, and then hit on send, and then the Claude Design will make those changes for you. So once you're done, you can just click on share and then click on project HTML, or you can also export it directly to Claude Code. So for now I would just click on project.html and then click on project archive, and then I want it in the zipped format, and then click on export. And within a few minutes I would have the project folder basically stored. So level 4 is actually to build it. So I have given the path where the design file is actually located, and I've given this prompt. So I've asked Claude Code to read the Claude Design export alongside the spec.md, and then I've asked Claude Code to write build brief.md, and then I just hit on enter, and I just got this file, which is the brief.md, and then it has got all the parts that I asked it to write. The first one is basically the component map, and the part 2 is basically the static and database driven. You don't need to worry too much about this. It's much more technical. I would just need this so that I have it in record, and if I wanted to make any changes from the technical aspect in the future, I can just use this document. So I'm okay with this. Okay, next part is basically where we ask Claude Code to actually build the app for us. So this is the prompt. So I've asked Claude Code to build me an iOS app called Stillwell, which is the chair yoga for adults. And I've put the design components in this location, and then I've asked it to refer to build.briefmd and then spec.md. I've asked it to include animations, and I've asked Claude Code to remove the green background for every video, and I've also given some rules that are non-negotiable. And then I hit enter, and then now Claude Code actually starts building the actual app from the design files and the assets. And then it just gave me a high level brief on how the app should look like. And if I'm just okay with this, I just say approved and then start building it. So it uses Supabase for actual database. So where the data is actually stored, it's a free tool, so you can just use that. It's free until certain limits. So if you want to include more data, then you need to pay for it. But for just to start, it's free, and it's just building one by one. And finally, it's done. So I've got the build report, and it has given the brief of the things that it has done. It's got like 19 screens, non-negotiable, which are all met, and everything else. And the app is basically here live at this local server that it had set up, and it has put all the animations as well in it. Okay, so this one is done. So once the Claude Code has developed the iOS app, I've asked Claude Code to develop a companion web application which will be used by the care home, and basically they will share the same database but a web version of it. You would just need to click on enter, and it would start to build it. And then we have got the report. So we have two URLs. One is the resident app, which is the iOS mobile app, and then the director app, which is the web version of it, which will be used by the care home. So in order for me to access the apps via internet and also use it in my phone, I've asked Claude Code to use Cloudflare and then set up a private tunnel and then give a URL for me to access. So it has given me two URLs. One is for the iOS app, and then the other one is for the dashboard. So I would just need to copy this and then paste it in my browser, and there you go. So we have the app now. I'll just click on start today's session, and then we can see the character doing the exercises. And then I'll just click on next, and we have the character as well as the timer as well. Just click on next, 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 and then it's done. And then I click on back to home, go on progress. So progress will show the progress of the activity, and then we have other menu items here as well. So I would just pasted this URL, and then we have got the directed version of the app, which is the web version, and it's a dashboard for care home, and it has got all the residents listed here, and then they can see the progress of each residence. So it's a very good management app basically. This is level 5, make it hold up. So in here I've asked Claude Code to order the live app, basically render and measure. This level is where most people skip, and it's the reason it doesn't look like a demo. The instruction that matters is the first line. So I've asked Claude Code to render every screen in a browser and then measure it. Do not audit just by reading the code, because if you ask it to check its own work by reading back what it wrote, it would always tell you everything is fine. What I want is for it to actually load the thing and then take the measurement. Use it how a real user would basically use the app, and then take the feedback. And then I just asked it to write audit.md, and then it needs to highlight every failure with the screen and the element and the measured value. And then it needs to fix them and then rerun every measurement and then show me the numbers again. And then it just did, and then it got me the audit.md file. So in this file, we can see the run one, and then we can see the failures found, and then it actually fixed it, and it highlighted the fixes it has done, and then the run 2, and it basically checked if the failures actually occurred again or not. It's all good, and then it gave me a new report. So I'm happy with this. And then the next prompt is basically I've asked it to read the teams.md, spec.md, and then audit.md, and then write the launch.md. So this is a critical step if you wanted to publish this app into App Store, and you just hit enter, and then you would get this launch.md file. This file would have all the information that is required for the launch. For example, the app name, subtitle, the relevant keywords of this app, and then how the screenshots of this app should look like. Part 2 is basically launch an app store submission, and then the icons, screenshot, privacy information, description, and everything, and all the other information. So that's the whole thing. 8 prompts, 5 levels, and every one of them has the next one of file. So all the 8 prompts are in my free AI newsletter. The link is in the description. So take them and point them at whatever category you want, because none of this is really just for Chair Yoga. You can develop similar apps at your own category and interest. And if you like this video, just hit that subscribe button. I build one of these every single week, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.